Hello and welcome to Tennis Volley Talk this week. I've been kind of waiting and watching the Paaba Indian Wells Tennis all this week, so that's why I just didn't get a video in until later this week here, till the end the near the end of the Indian Wells right now. So with that, this whole last week and a half, it's been going really good, and it's been some really good tennis all the way around, where you'd think that some people that would be winning are winning, and then some of the people that you didn't think that would be winning are winning. It's kind of gotten into the semis of the women that were played last night, and it was Iga Swiatek against Mirra Andreeva. And now Andreeva's won a 1,000 event, and she's only 17 years old. Really tall girl, but has very good tennis abilities and can hit the ball really good. So, and she's really been playing extraordinary tennis. So she beat Iga last night, and she beat her 7-6, 1-6, 6-3. And it was a very entertaining match, but she got Iga a little bit frustrated, and that can happen when Iga comes around and starts getting outplayed by people, and she gets a little bit frustrated and then starts missing shots, going for too much. And that's kind of what happened, and she stepped it up and ended up winning the match for the second time, beating Iga in as many weeks here. So that was really a good match altogether. So how do you think, and what do you think of Mirra and how she's been playing at such a young age at 17, but she's really good and composed for her age. And then we had also in the semis, we had Madison Keys against Aryna Sabalenka, which was in a rematch of the Australian Open. However, this match didn't go very well for Madison Keys this time. Because Aryna just was playing out of her mind with everything. She didn't double fault one time. Madison only double faulted twice, but Aryna played unbelievable tennis. She played the wind better. Madison would just from the first ball, you could tell she was just off, and she kept hitting long, wide, couldn't return, was serving, but just couldn't serve very well, always relying on her second serve that Aryna took advantage of with the second serve. And so it wasn't really actually a very good match with her in that respect. And then with that, you had so the final will be Aryna Sabalenka and Mirra Andreeva. What do you guys think? Like, subscribe, and comment on my YouTube tennis podcast. And you podcasters, you're going to hear about Racket of the Day. And if you want to take a look at it, go to my tennis podcast, Tennis Volley Talk, on YouTube. And then what do you think? Aryna Sabalenka or Mirra Andreeva is going to win? And then tonight are the men's semis, and it's going to be Holga Rune against Damille Medvedev. And then you're going to have Jack Draper against Carlos Alcarez. Now, Jack Draper, he's from England, but he's a lefty like Ben Shelton is. But he's really been upping his game lately. He's really been playing good. But right now, Alcaraz is probably going to be the odds-on favorite. And it might be Alcaraz and Medvedev that are going to be playing. But Holga Rune might pull off if he plays it smart against Medvedev. But it could probably, I'm kind of probably odds-on favorite, Medvedev and Alcaraz that'll make it into the men's finals for Sunday. So guys, let me know. Give me your thoughts, like, subscribe, and let me know what you like. If you like the over-the-phone calls that I do in the interviews or have in-house guests, I do like doing that all the way around. And, with that, it just makes it really good. And to to watch such good tennis. They call this the third Grand Slam. And of course, then with Madison Keys, funny thing, she caught her win streak a little earlier. So we had 30-year-old women in the women's side on the USA the last 2 years make an incredible run in making their ranking jump from where it was. Madison Keys caught it in Brisbane, and then Australian Open, she caught the win streak going, kept it going until last night when she lost. But at 30, Madison Keys is, and then at 31, Danielle Collins from last year when she caught fire at Charleston, South Carolina, and then the Sunshine, the Miami part of the summer part of it in California, and then Florida in the Paaba Sunshine Tennis tournaments is what they call it. They make a tennis facility out of the Hard Rock Stadium there in Miami. So just really makes it, they really do a good job with that too. But yeah, amazing that the two U.S. women kind of caught fire and then up their rankings from last year with Danielle Collins. And she's back still on the tour, and see what happens. And hopefully she can catch fire. And then also then with Danielle Collins, or with Madison Keys catching fire, and just making an incredible run and going through several seeded players and top 10 players during that time in that Australian Open final. So it did make it for very interesting and fun time to watch any of that. So now, as I kind of mentioned last week, last time I was on, I was going to kind of make a little a little history thing as far as some people and a lot of people may not know with this, but during around about World War II, we had a woman tennis player that was actually a spy for the USA against the Germans. And it was just really an amazing aspect of this. And the name of this person was Alice Marble. And from September 18th, 1913 to December 13th, 1990 is how long she was around. But it was amazing with that, of the aspect of how that happened and what happened. She was known for 18 Grand Slam titles, and then secretly became a spy for the U.S. Army, using her travel opportunities to gather intelligence, particularly against suspected Nazi collaborators. And that because then she could use that, and nobody would really even think that somebody like that would be a spy. Alice Marble was dominant force in the women's tennis during 18 Grand Slam titles between 1936 and 1940, including 5 singles, 6 in women's doubles, and 7 in mixed doubles. She was the world number 1 player back in that time. She was ranked number 1 in 1939 and was known for powerful serves and volleys, pioneering the women serve and volley style of play. So that's where, maybe Martina Navratilova watched some of that stuff that she was doing and picked that up or something. So that must have been very, very interesting. And knowing that she was the pioneer of serve and volley of today's tennis. You YouTubers, be sure and like, subscribe, and comment. And also you podcasters, like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what you think and about the racket of the day. And if you want to take a look at it, go to my YouTube tennis channel, Tennis Volley Talk. But then anyway, she was a spy for the Allies. And that happened in about 1945, recovering from an attempt to kill herself. Mabel agreed to spy for the U.S. intelligence, leveraging her status as a star, like I said, athlete, and that would be able to travel abroad without suspicion. Nobody would have had any suspicion as far as, a pro woman tennis player back then. And she was such a little demure kind of thing, though, too. So the mission to Swiss was through a Swiss banker that got a hold of her in the mission. U.S. Army approached Marble to reconnect with her former lover, Hans Steinmetz, a Swiss banker suspected of laundering Nazi gold jewels, paintings, and currency. That she was in love with him. That was her former lover. Now, the espionage task, Marble's mission was involved photographing Hans' bank records, disarming alarms and explosives, picking locks, delivering the film to the Swiss goldsmith shop, and then heading to the airport. And that was kind of what happened with that, as far as what she did and all the kind of stuff that she did spy stuff with, what she ended up doing and getting that stuff from his bank records and everything that was very helpful in what we did against the Germans with the Germans. And I think she ended up getting chased, and I think she ended up getting shot, but she survived that. And then everything. And then later on, she became a civil rights advocate. Beyond tennis and the espionage, Mabel was also a passionate advocate for equality, playing pivotal role in desegregation of American tennis and mentoring Althea Gibson to break the color barrier. So she was a mentor, and with Althea Gibson breaking the normal, broke the color barrier, being an African American women tennis player back in the day. And then she was also a comic book editor, a sports reporter, and a civil rights advocate, like I said. So she had a lot of hats that she wore with that too. DC comic book editor, Alice Marble, was an 18 grand, and she was, like I said, a DC editor for DC Comics in doing that. And then Alice maintained she got married during the war to an Army Air Force officer whose death would lead Alice to agree to take on the wartime espionage mission that way, in all of that respect too. So, becoming even a editor for a comic book, DC comic book, that's amazing in itself. So, with that, it just ended up being such a interesting and wonderful aspect of that kind of career to have back then. You wouldn't even think of that back then. And then she was able to take that on and do all of that stuff, and being able to do things like that. But anyway, what the racket of the day. Now, you YouTubers, you're going to see the racket of the day. You podcasters, you're going to hear it about it. And if you want to take a look at it on my YouTube channel, Tennis Volley Talk. But here it is. It's actually endorsed by the very same Alice Marble Wilson racket here. Alice Marble endorsed it, and it was the tournament Speedflex fiber face is what it was. And this racket here is probably in about the, I would say 1940s, 50s rackets. In the 40s and 50s, that's where they have these extra strings at the bottom, not to reinforce, but to kind of like they have knots and smooth. So if you spun the racket, you could be smooth side or knot side on the strings here. But they stopped making these, right? In the early 60s, they stopped making that part of it, and then you just spin it for up Wilson or M down for down. So that's how you'd spin the racket and find out who wins the serve. But it's still a very sturdy racket. I like the kind of wood it is. It's a Starstra bow is what this is. The bow of it is. I like the color of it, the white at the bottom part of it, with the red Wilson on it. And then it kind of has the little green part throat. And then it has in white her Alice Marvel, her name that she endorsed through Wilson Sporting Goods. And with that, it's a very sturdy racket still. And I'm sure anybody that bought it, these are actually not any, these are probably just the regular strings that this racket came with. And that was kind of common with the store-bought rackets from sporting goods stores. Still a very tight-strung racket. You could probably go out and still hit the ball with this particular racket. Very nice-looking racket still. Very clean. Like the contrast of it with what the wood might be. It has layered parts of it there, and with the painting on it, the white. And then knowing that it is with these here, making it about the 1940s into the 50s, kind of a racket with that. So, if you like that, just be sure and like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about this. And do you like the over the phone calls that I make, or the in-house interviews that I do? I really like doing those. And then another thing that it was being a Wilson racket, though. Then with that, the Wilson Sporting Goods was started and founded there, and it was it actually founded in 1913 by Thomas Wilson in Chicago, but it was a subsidiary of Schwarzschild and Schwarzberger Meatpacking Company in New York City. And then he was around. He was actually the chairman of the board for Wilson Company for 35 years. And he was from July 11th, 1868 to August 4th, 1958 there. But he founded it in Chicago. And then in 1913, moved the sporting goods in manufacturing of gut strings for tennis rackets, violin strings, and sutures for medical reasons. He did. That's what they made, is the strings for that, the gut strings from the meat manufacturing. That'd be a good way to use the meat product byproducts in a different way by making gut strings. And the three types were the cow gut, cat gut, or goat sheep gut for sutures, and then the cow gut for for the rackets. And then it took two cows to make a tennis racket, string a tennis racket. And then the sheep gut, that was actually then more or less for sutures, and I think the violin strings and stuff. So that's what they ended up doing there. But then in 1914, started making tennis rackets at the time. Back in 1914, that's when he started manufacturing the Wilson tennis racket. And then from there, it went to many tennis pros endorsing the Wilson brand, to be able to play with the Wilson brand and have that brand. And then, of course, then back early 60s, late 60s, is then when you had Jimmy Connors that perfected and made Wilson almost a household name with the T2000 racket, which was one of the flashier looking rackets. And he was the one that wielded that racket all the way up into the early 80s, until he finally had to make a change to the higher tech rackets at the time. But boy, could he hit the ball with that racket. I saw him play a few times, and in a tournament back in Tulsa, where I'm from, the Bank of Oklahoma tournament. So, if you're out there and Jimmy, you come across this, give me a call. Anyway, just kidding. I'd like to get some kind of a pro on and do an interview with them. But if you YouTubers, you like, subscribe, and comment, let me know what you think of what I do. And I like doing this for everybody, coming into your house and talking about tennis, and giving you a little bit of history of everything Let me know what you thought about that. And then you podcasters, if you want to take a look at that racket, just go to Tennis Volley Talk and take a look at it. At least then you hear about it. So with that, it's starting to get kind of nice out here. We're going to have here, we're going to have some nicer days and some cooler days, but they're turning towards the nicer days out there for us. So anybody get out there and enjoy wherever you're at. If you're in the warmer states, get outside, enjoy the tennis. It's starting to be getting to be able to be outside here. So that'll be pretty nice. And, see what happens and get out there and outside and play. Makes it a lot different playing outside. You have a big element of wind and sun and all that. So everybody enjoy the week, and thank you for letting me come in and talk to you about tennis today. And everybody have a nice week and have a great day. Thank you.